internets. My name is Sai.
I'm Alex Fink.
And we are the co-creators of UNLWS, a nonlinear written language. On the UNLWS Slack, to which there is a link at the top of the grammar doc, s.ai/NLWS. Yamiko Hikari has posted a couple examples in UNLWS without translation for us to interpret and comment on.
Beneath one of them, Adam Vandervorst asked, "How long did it take you to decode this?" So this recording is our effort to answer this live. We will record ourselves looking at Yamiko's examples.
There are two.
Yeah.
And neither of us has... we've looked briefly at the image, but neither of us has spent any time trying to analyze it at all. So this is an accurate example of reading it from scratch. So shall we start the timer?
Here we go. Okay.
So that is first person pronoun,
I
graph.
Fruit. What? I forget which way the axes for the graph go.
That's the
cartouche.
That's the x-axis, I believe. Isn't it? That's the default one. That's binding the x, not the y.
Okay.
And the y is implicit time.
That's
and
right.
That's on the low end. So a low amount.
Low amount of eating fruit.
Of
the relation.
Eating. Yeah. Yes. I don't know what's binding to this cartouche.
It might be that the top is the inside. Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that has a similar property?
Doesn't have a similar property.
Well,
we've
it's negated.
Yeah, right. We've deprecated that. I forget where it would... it'll be in the first...
I thought we included the deprecated ones in the lexicon.
Yeah. But I just wasn't sure where to get it. I think that's what it is. One of the things
that we were not super sure
okay,
how to
no,
work with.
That's what it is. I won't find it. So unlike a person, unlike an article, a generic person,
a generic human.
Yeah.
A generic human does not have a correlate.
Does not. I mean,
check what we actually define this as.
No, right.
The relation part. I mean.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Because I forget whether it was like a property. I thought it was having a
shares properties with or something like that. That's probably at the top. The lexicon is not sorted.
We should do that at some point.
Oh yeah, right. So it breaks down.
Oh, it's bidirectional.
Yeah. It has a property which isn't the property that people have, except that this is rel gapped. So, I mean, maybe it shouldn't be rel gapped, but I guess my eating fruit a little degree.
Let's take it from the bottom side.
Yeah.
Because the cartouche is a scope. A generic human's existence is
there's no exist predicate, but a generic human
exists as the default.
Thing about the
dot.
Sure.
Is not characterized by what's in the cartouche, and what's in the cartouche is not characterized by...
is not like is a fair way to say this.
Fine, it's not like the existence of a generic human.
Yeah.
So I think what Yamiko is intending to say here is that I don't eat much fruit, and in particular, and that is unusual for people in general. Like I eat an unusually low amount of fruit.
Right.
I think it's grammatically incorrect.
Should I stop the timer?
Sure.
3:20 something.
Yeah. So 3:29, 3.5 minutes. To get the intention. before we go on to discussing the corrections, let's evaluate the other one.
Yeah,
Because they might have things in
yes,
common.
I mean, I note that the times have been a little inflated because we are talking bits to camera as we go through it, but it's within an order of magnitude at least. Other image, and here we go. Okay.
Right. So that's. Was that?
Don't know where you're looking.
Rain or top left?
Oh, that's the new star.
Star?
Or light or star. I think that's the new star.
And that's a zero counter, or is that's a figure ground.
That's a universal article. That's all.
Oh. Yes, that's a universal.
Yeah, that's all. So all stars are a group.
Three different things.
Well, a group of one thing and something that's described in two ways.
Okay. I think resolving the bottom section would be easier first. So a female is communicated to.
I wish
I believe. Yeah.
That's right. It's communicated to by touch.
By touch. Yes.
Now we've got
content of various movement of stuff.
The content is moving, and we'll work out what the movement does.
Yes.
Okay.
The P thing. Oh.
Is that having evidence?
I think that might be the evidential.
Yeah.
We don't actually use them very often.
I don't know. Maybe we should.
But it's a fair thing. Okay, so the thing that is communicated to this
woman
woman is
supports that she is a woman,
supports that she
or that she is listening.
Supports that she is listening. She is the recipient
of
this communication, which
and its form is this little white
is
either the dotted
null.
Circle or it's white null.
No, it's the that's a cartouche.
That's probably a cartouche.
No, it must be a cartouche, isn't
it? I mean, there's a trick here, right?
Like
if you want to quote a cartouche, right? Would you put
that
two
we don't have escape characters.
Escape characters are maybe not the way, but that's probably null. Okay.
Yes, so
and it's big
is a big null. Also, that is an interesting use of the quotative after, like at a remove. I think it's licit.
It's very licit. Okay, and now we've got this is like light emission.
Light emission that is non-scattered, like directional light emission.
Right.
Scatter is probably where it'll be, or there.
Emit light.
Okay.
Yeah. No subject.
So,
but okay, something emits light. Most mediumly and least.
Grades.
So the message is in the middle. The second thing in the group of stars is at the top. The first thing in the group of stars is at the bottom.
Okay. Is like the amount of light emitted. Okay. The group of stars consists of a low light emitting star on the top branch, and on the bottom branch a thing that is both a high light emitting and is moving.
Right. It's in this
with respect to another
motion
thing.
configuration. What is this? Okay, so the middle one is orbiting the top one. The bottom one is orbiting the middle one.
Is that right? Oh, this is.
So we're probably
Earth, Moon, Sun.
star, planet, moon. That's right. So the message.
And
is
only the top one is the star. So the middle thing is the Earth, which is orbiting it, and the bottom is the moon, which is orbiting the Earth.
So the moon is of middle brightness, and the second star is of lower brightness.
And the second, where is
the top star is of lower brightness than the moon, and the moon is the message.
Yes. And what is of high brightness?
The thing the moon is orbiting. The sun the moon is orbiting is of high brightness.
The sun is okay. The sun the moon is orbiting is of high brightness. The low brightness thing is another star.
Another star or stars, right? I mean, these are all the stars. There's no number here, so these could be multiple. That one or more of them is the sun, and one or more of them are dim.
So the dim star
and that makes up everything.
It's just
there to say that dimmer than the
star
moon.
Or stars.
Yeah, dimmer than the moon. I guess that's what's being asserted of them.
Right. Though the dimmer star is, I think, a nop.
It's being asserted to be there. Nothing else is being said about it.
Yeah.
Of all the stars, they're all dimmer than the moon, or they're the sun.
They're not the moon.
This is right. They're dimmer. Right, this is all the stars. So all the stars are in this group.
Are either brighter or dimmer than the moon.
Are the sun, which we're talking about here, or are dimmer than the moon. That could be multiple. Could be multiple suns. Could be multiple suns.
But yes, so all other stars are dimmer than the moon, I suppose. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Because this is a covering set group.
Maybe this is meant to be.
Set, you're the mathy.
Moo. This is meant to be new moon, maybe. Big null. The message of the moon is a big
this is
null.
A literal, so this is like what is perceived.
Right.
Is not. So new moon, not. It is not perceived as much. Assuming that background of this paper is null rather than white.
Right. That's the mathematician thing. If you write in white on a blackboard, then you talk about the white background of the paper as though the blackboard is white.
Yes. So I'm assuming that the background is in fact transparent or null, not that this is quoting white, and therefore that Alex is right that this is a thing that has no evident touch percept. Are you sure that's touch?
Let's check. Where is our modalities?
It might be visual.
Lower down. Oh, it probably is visual because it appears in light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's visual. So
right.
No light.
Okay, so the woman perceives a moon, which is evidence of the fact that the woman perceives it, whose form is empty, which is big, and which is brighter than all stars, but the sun, which the moon in question is orbiting.
Yeah.
That is a cogent thing. I don't think it's grammatically incorrect.
She sees the moon as a void which is still brighter than the background stars,
which is a curious thing to say. I guess another potential for the quotative is that it is intending to quote the circular form.
Oh, maybe it's like a circular patch of the page.
And in which case it could be either new moon or full moon. But rather than gibbous.
Right.
I think we can call that time as so
8.5 with even more divagation. So, we knew what was going on by 5 or 6. And
But so I think it's I don't think we've actually defined how we handle quotatives having a spatial configuration, whether you're quoting a circle in particular rather than just stuff that is written on this particular patch of paper.
Right. We haven't discussed that.
It's hard. It's asserted that the moon is large, not that it's necessarily perceived large.
Right.
What is the directionality of the evidential left-right tail?
It's supposed to flick to the left a bit more than is here, but it was just to point
its
to...
inputs.
Oh, its inputs. I mean, it just sits on a rel. I think the sides of the rel are symmetric for its purposes. Where'd it go? Right, we didn't even name the sides.
So, Z is... Oh, no. It's the other way around.
Yeah, no, the evidence is down here. Oh, that...
The perception...
Yeah, the percept is evidence for
evidence for its existence.
Oh, that's why it goes here. The percept is evidence for the fact that it's...
That's...
dark or whatever. Yeah, okay, that's the way around it should go.
Our error.
Yeah.
So, the fact that she perceives this by light is evidence for its... well, I guess it's being asserted that she is perceiving the moon rotating the planet rotating the sun.
Well,
the rotation.
The moon is the message, and the moon is the message, and the orbit is something the message does. But like,
it's not entirely clear what the scope of that is.
Yeah,
which part is within the percept.
Right.
But yes, fair.
There would be cartouche ways to disambiguate that, but here it has not been disambiguated.
Here we can say, like, perceives the orbiting body, which is separately by the author indicated to orbit. The perception is evidence for the fact that this orbiting body is big and of either null or circular or white or dark. I'm not sure because that's not well defined. Good education, Yamiko. And for the fact that it is of middle brightness of like other stars and the star which it is orbiting. It is it is curious to me to call that evidence. Well, I guess two aspects. One is it's, I think, not defined for the light emission part, whether that is as perceived or at source. So, like, stars that are not the sun are, in fact, not dimmer than the sun, but they are perceived by us dimmer.
It's surely allowed to be used perceptually. It's surely allowed to be used wherever. You know,
sure.
It's
just unambiguity, that's all. And the fact that this is brighter than the background stars, to me, indicates it can't be a new moon. It's got to be the full moon.
Well, it can be a near new moon. It can be a near new moon that is still, like, got, like, whatever the ambient reflection is that makes it visible as a disk that's not inky black.
So if you think we're interpreting the quotative as a circle,
or as an empty,
or as white.
I think that the evidence thing is perfectly fine here, right? I mean, visual evidentials are common evidentials, so...
No, I just mean in the fact that it's, how to put it, it's almost redundant with the assertion. Like, the assertion that it is brighter is duplicative of the claim that you saw it brighter, right? It's not evidenced by your having seen it brighter. That is the same statement.
I don't know.
Right?
She saw that it had these properties, right? And the seeing was the basis for these properties being connected to this. This seeing this is just primary sensory evidence, and this part of the stuff that's being evinced.
Yeah. It's strange to me to, at least for the brightness part, that is being evinced by the percept rather than being perceived.
I mean, sure, it is. But I don't know, in a language with visual evidentials, you'd say, I don't know, like, you could say the moon is bright today with a visual evidential, or you could say it with, like, a hearsay evidential, my calendar told me, and it might be that kind of contrast that is being rendered here.
Fair. I the evidential is also a little odd to me in being attached to the fact that the woman is the perceiver rather than being attached to the percept. Like the fact that she perceived it is not the relevant evidence. Like the content perceived. Though the perception thing is deemed written by the author. So...
no. I mean, maybe we need to rework the evidential system, but visual evidentials are a core case, and this looks like an attempt to do one, and I don't want to see it as weird.
It's a fair attempt to do one. This is purely a nitpick, to be clear. Like, the fact that Yamiko can raise something that is that nitpicky is evidence of being quite good at annals. To be quite clear. I think that the triple orbit is actually nicely done, and
I forget if that's lifted from us.
Is it?
I do that? Vaguely remember having done that.
Well, it's a bit uncouth to credit oneself. But if Yamiko had invented this, which I'm not sure, I don't remember having done it. It would be a nice. What's the term? Elegant way of expressing it. Do we have moon in the text?
I think we have moon in a relay.
Oh, also technically, this may not be a light. The moon is not a light emitter; it is a light reflector.
So right? Yeah,
which we distinguish.
But yeah, the moon is not included in this group of stars, so that is entirely on point.
But for the emission, the light in the center.
Oops, I didn't open the right things.
I'll just grab one else.
Wow.
There. Third column.
Torch. So that's the old
Oh yeah, I
star.
don't think we actually want to keep that star. Lexus and text.
Probably moons in. Oh, this is the one we had open. There's moons. Yep. Okay. So that is correctly adapted to get rid of the old star.
Yep. Wait. Where? Grammar. What was I looking at? Oh, right. Light.
Oops. It's not. It wasn't focused.
Okay, scroll down. There we go. So yeah, that is the moon does not emit light; it reflects or scatters.
So, I guess what you're saying is we ought to have a predicate for be the source of light, regardless of whether emitted or scattered or whatnot. In which, like, these lines wouldn't be contrastive.
Or to have like an optional, to have like I don't know, maybe like a gapped line saying like is either of these. I don't know.
Yeah, either is a bad idea. We should just have one that doesn't mark it.
I'm just being like a slight astronomy pedant in saying the moon does not emit light.
Yeah, I know, and that is.
But the author could be claiming it.
Well,
so that's not ungrammatical.
Sure, but we've also lexicalized these distinctions, and I guess what this is saying is probably we need a predicate for bright, which doesn't get hung up on those distinctions.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree.
That's right.
And I think that using two separate predicates for it here would be not very NLC.
It would be ugly.
So I think this is probably like more NLC and feel properly. I'm not sure what's being claimed to be big. Like the moon is being claimed to be big with respect to like big for what? Big for a moon? Big
for amore.
Big in like
that. We don't need to fix that. That is
radial.
In every language, there is a word for big, and it has this kind of.
No, I realize. I realize it's ambiguous.
So we don't need to care about that.
I'm not sure what it's claiming.
The moon is big.
But yeah, we should think about that quotative, because a thing being ambiguous between like fully bright and void is a problem with our grammar. And being ambiguous of whether its shape is pertinent is also a thing.
Yeah.
Though I guess it's correct for Yamiko to not draw a circle, and inside it is pure form quotative. So right. I think drawing a circle inside it would be fine and would not be
the straightforward way of expressing looks like a boundary of a circle, which is not a round void, for instance.
Oh, you're a one to talk. Come on, this would be like a closed null set.
Filling in the disk, right? That's maybe you don't know the way that mathematicians use circle versus disk, but the circle is the boundary and the disk is the filled thing.
What's the thing including the boundary?
That's the disk.
What's the thing not including the boundary?
The interior of the disk?
I don't know. I would expect you to have a different word for these.
The interior of the disk or the interior of the circle. The
open
disk.
Do you distinguish like a closed,
the open disk versus the closed disk?
And the open empty set?
There is no such distinction.
Just
the
checking.
Empty set is open and it's closed, and this is like floating point numbers or something.
You people might. So yeah, that's on us. Let's see. All stars are either this one or the ones in the background, effectively speaking. So the star that is brighter than its moon, and both of which are brighter than all other stars, is the star in question. Therefore, presuming that this is subjective, which I think is proper, it's talking about this woman's moon. Seems straightforward enough. I don't know that it's an allusion to anything. Yamiko has previously done some allusions, but this is just saying she sees the moon. Okay. The other one... So this one, I think, is not grammatically correct.
Not grammatically correct is hard. It is put together in an NLC way.
It is.
It is, there's...
Above within the cartouche, within the opera cartouche, I think that's totally correct.
Grammaticality is too heavy a claim to lay against it, right? It is correct to mean the existence or whatever of a generic person is unlike whatever is going on up
licit.
Here.
I think it is not correct for what is probably intended. Because I think what is intended is like I eat like a socially normative low amount of fruit, right?
Right. What was meant was I eat little fruit, unlike most people who eat more. That could have been done with another point on the graph. So it is unusual that it wasn't done with another point on the graph, which makes me doubt that was all that was meant.
We could be missing something. That's entirely possible. But like rel gapping to a human's existence,
or to being a
being a generic human is characterized by my eating or not characterized by my eating a low amount of fruit.
My eating little fruit is unlike like humankind, like the human condition.
The human yes, that is an apt yes. I mean, poetically, I guess you could say something to that. I am not sure what you would mean by it. It'd be some sort of allegory, I suppose. I think that if you want to just say, like, I eat less fruit than most people, I think the normativity is already implicit in the graph. Like, I eat a low amount of fruit. By what standard? Presumably by the standard of the distribution of human fruit eating.
Well, you could also put the generic person on a dot, which was here. For sure. You could easily do that. But I think it is implicit that, like, when you have this, like... Well, this is the kind of thing you should leave to Grice. It means whatever the obvious comparison is.
Yes. I think the obvious comparison is norm. Like, what is the usual distribution?
We've just been singing the Gaston song, and, I don't eat much fruit, only 3 dozen a day.
Right. And that's, I think, a perfectly fine, like, implied reference frame for an author to have, like, a skewed idea of what is normative. Yeah, I think that's the only fault I can find with it. The normative part, and I guess the being characterized by the entire statement, I eat a low amount of fruit.
Yeah.
Is a weird property.
Yes.
For a thing to have. I'm not sure if that is a property, but I don't think we've really
the property goes in the
very
middle,
well.
right? This is the thing with properties. This is the property.
But it's got to be a thing that
situations and states can have properties.
Yeah. And the human existence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's licit. It's well formed. It's well laid out. Other than I would make the negation cross much smaller, so that it doesn't look sort of like give or something like that. Otherwise, it seems pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the arguable error is arguable. And we have not actually yet asked Yamiko what she meant by this, so we will find out in response to this.
Yes.
I think that's it. Alex, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, that is it for this first, possibly only episode of...
I did not commit to any series.
Neither did I. So, hope you enjoyed. Bye.
Bye.